Oracle Automatic Storage Management, also known as Oracle ASM, was introduced with Oracle 10G, Release 1, in 2003. Oracle ASM is a volume manager and a file system for Oracle database files. Oracle ASM supports single-instance databases, as well as Oracle Real Application Clusters, or RAC, databases. ASM is Oracle's recommended storage management solution that provides an alternative to conventional volume managers, file systems, and raw devices. Oracle Grid Infrastructure software contains two major components: Oracle Clusterware and Oracle ASM. Oracle Clusterware is a portable cluster software that allows clustering of independent servers so that they cooperate as a single system. Oracle Clusterware was first released with Oracle 10G, Release 1, as the required cluster technology for Oracle Real Application Clusters. Oracle ASM is a volume manager and a file system for Oracle database files. Installation of Oracle Grid Infrastructure software will install and configure Oracle Clusterware and Oracle ASM on standalone servers or in Oracle Real Application Clusters. Now, let us understand how Oracle ASM works on a standalone server. On a standalone server, storage can be provided by storage server over storage area network, or we can have direct attached storage, such as local hard disk drives. For this discussion, let us assume that storage server is providing storage over storage area network. Oracle ASM instance administers and manages the ASM disk groups. Only one ASM instance is required on the server, and multiple databases can access ASM disk groups for database file storage. All storage traffic can be isolated from public network traffic using a dedicated storage network. All users and applications can connect to databases using a public network. Now, let us review operating system groups and users required for Oracle Grid Infrastructure software installation. Install group is the Oracle inventory group. Users in this group are privileged to install and upgrade Oracle binaries. DBA group will get sysdba privilege. Users in this group will get full administration privileges to manage databases. OPA group will get sysopa privilege. Users in this group can start up and shut down database instances. ASM DBA group will get sysdba privilege for ASM. Users in this group will get full administration privileges to manage ASM instances. ASM admin group will get sysasm privilege. Users in this group will get privileges to mount and dismount disk groups and related storage administration privileges. ASM OPA group will get sysopa privilege for ASM. Users in this group can start up and shut down ASM instances. Operating System User Grid should be used to install Oracle Grid infrastructure software. Grid User will own and run Oracle Clusterware and Oracle ASM. Note that some components of Oracle Clusterware will run with root user privileges. Install Group should be assigned as primary group for Grid User. ASM Admin, ASM DBA, and DBA groups should be assigned as secondary groups for Grid User. Now, let us review folders required for Oracle Grid Infrastructure software installation. We will use this folder for Oracle Inventory. We will use this folder as Grid Infrastructure Base. This folder will store ASM and Clusterware related diagnostic logs and administrative logs. We will use this folder as Grid Infrastructure Home. This folder will store all files required for Grid Infrastructure software. After installation of Grid Infrastructure software, this folder will be owned by root user. So, Grid Infrastructure Home folder should not be under Grid Infrastructure Base folder. All these folders should be owned by Grid User and install Group. Installing Grid Infrastructure software using Grid User and RDBMS software using Oracle User will provide strong job role separation, and it is strongly recommended by Oracle. I have logged into Metal Gear server as root user. In this session, we will take a look at how to install Oracle 12c Release 1 Grid Infrastructure software and configure Oracle ASM on a standalone server. As you can see here, I am running Oracle Linux Server Release 6.4. This is my Linux kernel version, and notice that this is a 64-bit server. Also notice that this is an unbreakable enterprise kernel. Now, let us perform basic system readiness check for Grid Infrastructure software installation. First, let us review our etc hosts file. This is the public IP address of our server. All users and applications will connect to databases using this public network IP. This is the private IP address of our server. For single standalone server setup, this private IP is optional. These are the public and private IP addresses for our storage server. Now, let us review our operating system groups, which are required for Oracle Grid Infrastructure Software Installation. O install group is the Oracle inventory group. DBA group will get sysdba privilege. OPA group will get sysopa privilege. ASM DBA group will get sysdba privilege for ASM. ASM admin group will get sysasm privilege. ASM OPA group will get sysopa privilege for ASM. As you can see here, operating system user grid exists, and O install group is assigned as primary group for grid user. DBA, ASM admin, and ASM DBA groups are assigned as secondary groups for grid user. Now, let us review folders required for Oracle Grid Infrastructure Software Installation. We will use this folder for Oracle Inventory. We will use this folder as Grid Infrastructure Base. This folder will store ASM and clusterware related diagnostic logs and administrative logs. We will use this folder as Grid Infrastructure Home. This folder will store all files required for Grid Infrastructure software. After installation of Grid Infrastructure software, this folder will be owned by root user. So, Grid Infrastructure Home folder should not be under Grid Infrastructure Base folder. All these folders are owned by grid user and O install group. On this server, we have completed basic system readiness check for Grid Infrastructure software installation. We have reviewed etc hosts file. We have reviewed operating system groups and users required for Oracle Grid Infrastructure software installation. We have reviewed the folders required for Oracle Grid Infrastructure software installation. Now, let us check ASM disks on this server. As you can see here, we have 6 ASM disks on this server. I have logged into Metal Gear server as grid user. I have already downloaded and extracted Oracle 12c Release 1 Grid Infrastructure software. Now, I will run installer to start installation of Oracle 12c Release 1 Grid Infrastructure software. This screen provides options for software updates. We have 3 options on this screen. We can provide My Oracle Support credentials, and installer will download software updates for this installation. Another option is to download updates manually before starting the installation, and provide the update file's location here to the installer. I have selected an option to skip software updates for this installation. This screen provides options for installation. We have 4 options on this screen. Install and configure Oracle Grid Infrastructure for a cluster. Upgrade Oracle Grid Infrastructure or Oracle ASM. Install Oracle Grid Infrastructure software without configuring it. I have selected an option to install and configure Oracle Grid Infrastructure for a standalone server. This is the product language selection screen. By default, English language is selected. This is the Create ASM Disk Group screen. ASM Disk Group data will be created. I have selected external redundancy for this disk group. Default allocation unit size is 1 MB. These are the ASM disks labeled by Oracle ASM Lib. Installer has detected them, and it has listed them here as candidate disks for ASM use. I have selected 2 disks to be added to this data disk group. Initially, this disk group will store ASM instance server parameter file and ASM instance password file. This is the ASM Password Setup screen. We can specify password for 2 admin users for ASM instance. First user is sysuser with sysASM privileges, which will be used for administration of ASM instance. Second user is ASM SNMP user with sysDBA privileges to monitor the ASM instance. This is the ASM Simple Network Management Protocol user. even though it is not suggested to use same password for these two users. For this installation, I have selected to use same password for these two user accounts. I have got a warning message because the password I have provided is not strong enough. I will ignore this warning message and continue. This is the Operating System Groups Selection screen. As you can see here, ASM Admin Group will be used as Oracle ASM Administrator Group. As you can see here, ASM DBA Group will be used as Oracle ASM DBA Group. As you can see here, ASM OPA Group will be used as Oracle ASM Operator Group. Because I have pre-created these operating system groups, installer have selected them by default. This is the Installation Location Selection screen. I will use this folder as Grid Infrastructure Base. This folder will store ASM and clusterware related diagnostic logs and administrative logs. I will use this folder as Grid Infrastructure Home. This folder will store all files required for grid infrastructure software. After installation of grid infrastructure software, this folder will be owned by root user. So, grid infrastructure home folder should not be under grid infrastructure base folder. We can ignore this warning. This is the Oracle Inventory Location Selection screen. I will use this folder for Oracle Inventory. This folder is also called as Inventory Directory. Operating system users in O install group will have permission to write to this Oracle Inventory folder. This is the root script execution permission screen. This is a new screen introduced with Oracle 12c installer. During Oracle Grid Infrastructure software installation, we have to run some configuration scripts with root privileges. In past versions, we had to ask System Administrator to run these scripts. Now, with 12c, we have two options. If we know the root password, we can provide it here, and installer will run root scripts using root privileges. Second option is to use sudo. System Administrator can configure sudo for grid user, and installer can use sudo to run root scripts using elevated privileges. If none of these options are available, then we have to use old method of asking System Administrator to run these root scripts. For this installation, I know the root password, so I have selected this option. Installer is performing prerequisite checks. Installer has found few issues with required prerequisites. Some of these failures are just warnings, but some are real failures. Detailed failure messages are available via this message area or by clicking on More Details link. It is not suggested to ignore failures, but there is an option to ignore all failures using this checkbox. Some of these failures can be fixed, and installer can generate scripts to fix these issues. Installer will generate scripts to fix these issues if I click on Fix and Check Again button. Installer has generated Fixup Scripts. System administrator with root privileges has to execute this script on this server. Now, I will run the Fixup script on this server. Installer will perform prerequisite checks again. Now, installer has passed all prerequisite checks. This is the installer summary screen. Here, we can review all the selected options for this installation. I will save all the selected options for this installation into a response file. Clicking on this install button will start Oracle 12c Release 1 Grid Infrastructure software installation. During this installation, Grid Infrastructure software will be installed and configured on this server. Now, installer is ready to run root configuration scripts and asking for confirmation to continue. I will click on Yes to continue. Now, installer will configure grid infrastructure and configure automatic storage management. As you can see here, installation of Oracle Grid Infrastructure for this standalone server was successful. Now, I will close the installer. This is the installation log file. Now, let us perform post-installation check on this server. As you can see here, ASM instance is up and running. This is the system monitor background process for ASM instance. Using error env script, I will set up Oracle environment variables. Now, I will launch ASM Configuration Assistant, ASMCA. As you can see here, I am connected to the ASM instance on this server. As you can see here, data disk group was created during grid infrastructure installation. This disk group is of 10 GB size with external redundancy. This disk group is mounted. Now, I will create another disk group for fast recovery area. I have provided disk group name as FRA. I have selected external redundancy for this disk group. I have selected 2 disks to be added to this disk group. Now, ASM Configuration Assistant has created Fast Recovery Area (FRA) disk group. As you can see here, FRA disk group is of 10 GB size with external redundancy. This disk group is also mounted. In this session, I have installed Oracle 12c Release 1 Grid Infrastructure software and configured Oracle ASM on a standalone server. I have also created a disk group for Fast Recovery Area using ASM Configuration Assistant.